Our story opens inside a small pawn shop, where a man named Drake walks in, dressed head to toe in black. He moves quietly between the shelves, observing every corner as if measuring the room. Then, without saying a word, he places an antique pocket watch in front of the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper examines it and casually says, "It's an imitation." But the watch keeps ticking because it isn't a watch at all, it's a bomb. A second later, the entire shop explodes, blowing the front open like a paper bag. As the smoke clears, several masked men rush inside. It turns out the pawn shop isn't a simple business. It's a secret front, hiding all kinds of illegal activity. Behind the counters, people are partying, gambling, and drinking like it's an underground nightclub. Drake grabs the shop's manager and demands to know where their stash is. The terrified manager claims they moved everything to headquarters earlier that day. Drake doesn't believe him. He fires his gun next to the manager's ears, forcing him to scream out the real location. The manager leads them to a small locker room. Behind a row of metal doors is a hidden chamber stuffed with piles of cash. Drake and his crew fill several suitcases with the money Drake prepares to execute everyone inside, but one of his men convinces him that the witnesses won't talk. Drake nods, puts away his gun, then casually tosses a grenade into the room, blowing them all to pieces. Later, the crew meets with their leader, a man named Rhodes. He tells them, "Lay low, stay away from each other. In a few days, we'll divide the money, same as always." Their getaway pilot is new. The previous pilot didn't survive their last mission, but during the flight, a violent thunderstorm hits. Lightning strikes the plane, setting it on fire. The crew loses control, and the aircraft crashes somewhere over a frozen region, taking all the stolen money with it. 5 months pass. One of the cash-filled suitcases, after drifting beneath the ice, finally rises to the surface. Nearby lives a quiet fish poacher named Harlan. He keeps a worn photograph of his family tucked in his coat. That morning, he heads out onto a frozen lake to check his traps. As he sets up his tools, he notices something strange beneath the snow, a human hand frozen in the ice. Harlan digs around it and discovers the dead pilot. Right beside him is the suitcase. Harlan breaks the locks and opens it, stunned to see stacks of clean, crisp cash inside through the ice. He can see the wreckage of the plane resting deep below. Harlan hauls the suitcase back to his small camp, unsure what to do next. The story shifts to the following day. A Native American game warden named Annie arrives at the lake, ordering tourists to leave because the ice is dangerously thin. One tourist mocks her, asking, "Who's going to stop us?" The sheriff stands right there but says nothing. Annie simply clamps a wheel lock on their car. Afterward, the sheriff tells her about a man named Jed whose truck is stuck on the ice. Annie heads out to help him.
And who's going to stop us?
Elsewhere, another former member of Drake's crew, a man named Penn, is living a quiet life as a father. Drake shows up unannounced and tells him that their old plane's tracker pinged yesterday. Their missing $20 million is somewhere under the ice. They need Penn's knowledge of the area to guide them.
You owe us.
When they reach the lake, Penn warns them that the ice will begin melting in 10 hours. The tracker signal is moving beneath the surface. It could be the current, or it could be someone else carrying one of the suitcases. Back on the lake, Annie reaches Jed's stuck truck. At that moment, Harlan walks toward them. Jed explains that Harlan lives alone, surviving off the land while searching for his missing wife Annie, questions Harlan, and finds the suitcase full of money. He insists he found it under the ice, but Annie doesn't believe him. She ties his hands and contacts the sheriff. Then Drake's team arrives. Drake points his gun at them and demands the rest of the money. Annie has no idea what he means. Harlan suddenly attacks Drake, giving Jed a chance to grab his own weapon. A gunfight erupts across the ice. Harlan sinks beneath the ice, swimming through the freezing water until he reaches Dax's legs. He surges upward, stabbing Dax with the arrow. Dax fires wildly, trying to hit him. Before he can pull the trigger again, Annie appears from behind and slams a bear trap onto Dax's face. Dax collapses, Annie pulls Harlan out of the icy water, and the two of them start running again. Drake's team arrives moments later. They find Dax's body lying beside the ruined snowmobile. Serena, who was secretly in love with him, breaks down in shock. Drake steadies her, and with tear-filled rage, she picks up her gun, ready for revenge.
It's not fucking fair! Hey!
Up ahead, Ani leads Harlan toward a hidden route in the snow, a place only locals know about. But Harlan is freezing, his strength fading fast. Suddenly, Serena opens fire, forcing Ani and Harlan to leave the snow and move through shallow water to hide their track. Penn realizes the two have taken the water route and warns Drake they continue the pursuit. Ani and Harlan climb out of the water on the other side of the lake. Ani wipes away their footprints, trying to confuse the trackers, but Penn is too familiar with the area he keeps pushing everyone forward. They enter a sacred medicine wheel deep in bear territory. Penn warns them to stay alert. No one listens. Right then, Serena steps onto a hidden trap, screaming as it snaps her leg. Ani and Harlan use the chaos to slip away.
Ready? Go.
They reach a series of vast, icy caves. Ani explains that very few people know about these caverns. Drake's crew won't be able to track them here. Meanwhile, Drake and his men break into a nearby cabin to tend to Serena's injured leg. While they're distracted, Ani lights a fire inside the cave to warm Harlan. She asks him softly, "Is it true you've been looking for your wife?" Harlan shakes his head. "No, she died." He explains that when he served in Afghanistan, he and his wife lost their daughter to a lung infection. When he returned home, his wife had already withdrawn from the world she barely spoke, wouldn't let him touch her, and sank into a silent grief that filled their house. Harlan turned to alcohol, drowning in guilt one day. He found her lifeless, not knowing how long she'd been gone.
She got some kind of infection. Lung?
Outside, their boss Rhodes arrives to join the search. Drake assures him the situation is under control. Just a poacher and a game warden standing in their way. Rhodes comforts Serena, then gathers his men. Back in the cave, Ani tells Harlan about a cleansing ritual from her tribe, a ceremony meant to help people mourn and finally move forward. She believes the ritual could help him forgive himself. Nearby, Drake discovers that someone on his own crew planned to steal the money. It was Ellis. Ellis tries to explain, but Rhodes kills him with his bare hands. "Tomorrow," he growls, "we finish this. The warden dies, and so does the poacher." Ani and Harlan exit the caves, but are stopped by a man named Oz. He pulls Ani aside, claiming that Harlan once corrupted his niece. Harlan denies it, explaining that they were grieving parents who had lost their child. Ani calms Oz down. "We survived these people first," she whispers. Oz agrees to help. He shows them pockets of methane trapped beneath the ice, dangerous and explosive. He leads them to his ice shanty. Along the way, he taunts Ani, accusing her of abandoning her heritage by becoming an officer. But Ani insists she is protecting her land, not betraying it. Harlan warns Oz that the men chasing them want a crashed plane filled with money. He says he doesn't want the cash, but the tribe could use it. Oz rejects the idea, accusing Harlan of trying to buy forgiveness. Suddenly, the sheriff arrives. He tells Ani that headquarters wants the plane's location immediately. Privately, he reveals his real motive. He's been taking a 5% cut from the criminals, and he wants Ani to join him. When she refuses, he draws his gun and forces Ani and Harlan into his car. As he drives, Harlan says, "I can take you to the plane. The tracker with the coordinates is in my backpack." When the sheriff reaches inside, a hidden bear trap snaps onto his arm. The car flips over violently. Harlan breaks the window and escapes, pulling Ani out with him. The sheriff, thrown across the snow, reaches for his gun. Before he can fire, Serena shoots him from a distance. She approaches the wrecked car. Harlan uses the sheriff's gun and fires at her, but Drake shoots Harlan from behind. Rhodes orders Penn to kill Ani, but Penn refuses. Rhodes shoots Penn in cold blood. Penn drops his lighter, igniting the methane beneath the ice. A massive explosion erupts, engulfing Rhodes in flames. Harlan crawls toward the shore looking for Ani. Drake finds her first. He grabs her and says, "Take me to the plane, and you both live." When Ani refuses, Drake shoots her in the ear to force her obedience. He aims at her other ear, but Ani fights back. Harlan attacks Drake from behind. The fight is brutal. Drake is stronger. Ani joins the fight. Together, they shove a broken oar into Drake's throat and kick him into the river below. Later, Harlan takes part in Ani's tribe's cleansing ritual. He sees visions of his wife and finally lets her go. Ani learns that only $4 million were recovered from the plane Harlan had secretly given the rest to Oz's tribe. They used it to build a new community hospital. And with that, our story comes to a close. End the movie. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our other recaps and subscribe for more content. And leave comment below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.